That's something a lot of people bring to my attention a lot. You know, when they smoking and they high. What if Big survived that night? Everybody love what ifs. Hello, this is Carceno and welcome to Carceno for Life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we engage once again. Now, people often ask me questions and want me to go back and forth with all these details and plans and theories. But Gene Deal commonly has told us in multiple deliveries of format that he told the driver to run the next three lights. I said, yo, run these next three lights. So they ran the three lights. Therefore, they couldn't get, the drive-by thing wasn't working with them. Biggie's car, whoever his driver was, stopped at the light, at that first red light. And that's when the shots rang out. Now, as horrific as that night was, for those who had to experience it, people like to play these what if games. So what if Gene Deal did not say run those three lights? And Puffy was the first car up, so Puffy would have got hit. And he was gone. How would the onlook of the music business would have went? If Big survived. Missing You wouldn't have probably been made. It'd have been a tribute to Puff. Suge Knight would have never seen the light of day out of a cell. Clive Davis would have punished him royally for that. He would have took the blame even though he was locked up. Clive Davis would then go on to run Bad Boy Records and help the mother, because the company's in his mother's name. Well, there'll be a tribute to Sean Puffy Combs. There would have been a lot of activity in motion during that time. When I mean activity, I mean there'd have been a lot of people moving around out here making their own moves. There'd have been a lot of activity of people making their moves. Biggie would have been the biggest star in the world. Mace album was coming right alongside it. Biggie and Mace would have did More Money, More Problems. It'd been more Biggie and Mace than it was Puff. Big would have put out the commission. Mace would have been added to the commission. A lot of different angles life would have took. A lot of businesses would have lost money. It would have been a very horrific time. The world hasn't changed. Nothing too much. I'm just thinking back on how many lives would have been affected. So you would have had a whole lot of situations developing. His children wouldn't have been born, the ones we know now. You have Justin only. Man, it's a different situation since y'all want to play the scenario game, but if we were to go that route, it's a very different conversation we're having right now. Well, I tell you this. Whatever would have been the ending scenario, it wouldn't have been suffice. Every year, the East Coast would have made Puffy the martyr. Clive Davis would have made events around it, and it would have severely hurt the West Coast as acts tried to get, performances over here in the East. People didn't really understand that Biggie's death put a strain on it put a strain on a lot of things from put a large strain on the West Coast artists trying to get performances over here in the East. I think people never really caught on to that. Once they realized that once they realized that the situations had changed and turned into a darker, more sinister plan or results, it came out that way due to the fact that you had other people who were involved and where it didn't make sense. Like artists who had nothing to do with the incident or even Death Row Records, just because they were on the West Coast. A lot of places on the East Coast who were cool with these guys couldn't even book them with East Coast artists. The opportunities had dried up. West Coast artists were in limbo. It was really bad for the West Coast and any of their artists trying to break through the music industry after March 9th. An incident that should have never taken place turned into a catastrophic event. Now, many people, such as myself, saw the change in the lineups as West Side Connection was basically following the Tupac wave of battling the East Coast. And they were going through this whole phase of the critics of the NYC. There were a lot of different elements to look out for. So what others didn't realize was that Clive Davis, Cali was not really the big major market for hardcore hip hop. It was mostly LA's music and LA's hip hop. Now, because it was LA's hip hop, there was some real MCs and artists who were lyrical, and this was the way they moved. And they wanted to portray that in their music. They wanted to be honest to the core and honest to their fans. So when it didn't happen in that way that everyone assumed it would happen, it was a shocking blow because it was like, okay, well, let's promote the next artist. It wasn't done that way. The East Coast artists infested the West Coast. They even moved out there. It had became a whole new ground to where the South then took over with Master P, and they represented the West and what was different. The West Coast representation was very small, as the West Side Connection was forced to basically disband. They canceled the tours immediately. The promoters said no. After what just happened with Biggie Smalls, the tour is over. The money was gone. Everybody had to return home. Nobody wants to hear you blasting the East Coast, and Biggie just died. So that was the scenario. Well, the theme song was Bow Down. So it took a while before West Side Connection could even, work again and move forward. So they had to chill on their own project. But that's why you can't play the what if game, because it's a lot of moving parts in the what if game. That one domino falls, it opens up a paradox of a lot of other things to happen that you didn't even think about. That's why I always say things happen in the divine order. There's a lot of series of events that took place. So yeah, that's how I felt. It's your boy Carceno. I'm out.